On August 1st, 1968, the first issue of Shonen Jump was published. For the past 50 years, this weekly manga compilation, featuring serialized stories printed in one color of ink on pulp newsprint, has been the birthplace and home of many of the most beloved manga series in history, such as Saint Seiya, Captain Tsubasa, Hokuto no Ken, Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, and One Piece. Every few months, the individual chapters of these series are published in tankobon volumes, which is the graphic novel format we're more familiar with here in the States. In the late 80s and early 90s, at the peak of Shonen Jump's success, many of its most popular series spun off into video games that were released for Nintendo's Famicom console. So it's only fitting that to celebrate its 50th anniversary, Shonen Jump teamed up with Nintendo to release a special edition Golden Famicom Mini, filled with games based on popular Shonen Jump manga. I was lucky enough to get in a pre-order for one of these from Japan, so let's check it out. It's packaged in a box that's the spitting image of an issue of Shonen Jump. The top, left, and bottom sides show an image of the multicolored pages, with Kankichi from the manga Kochikame sticking out his head and yelling, "Minna tatekure!" which I believe roughly translates to, "Buy me, everyone." The dimensions are almost exactly the same as a real issue of Shonen Jump, although the box has to be a bit thicker to hold the system. Okay, so that's enough about the box. Let's look inside. As with all of the other variants of this console, it comes with a pamphlet, an HDMI cable, a USB power cable, and the system itself. Comparing it to last year's Famicom Mini, the system is identical except for the addition of the Shonen Jump logo on the front, and of course, the golden color. The controllers are identical, because Famicom controllers have always had gold accents. Okay, let's fire it up and see what we've got. The interface is nearly identical to the one found on the Famicom and Super Famicom Mini, with just a change to the logo at the bottom and the addition of manga motion streaks around the edges of the screen. Occasionally, Kankichi will walk out and temporarily change the screen settings, still the standard Anorogu Terebi, 4x3, and Pixero Perfecto modes available. Goku will walk in and start a demo by tapping a game with the Nyoibo. Here's a quick rundown of the games that are included. First up is Ankoku Shinwa Yamato Takeru Densetsu, an adventure game based on Japanese folklore and history that's unfortunately impossible to play if you can't read Japanese. Next is Captain Tsubasa, a really interesting take on a soccer video game, played in a sort of action RPG style that they refer to as cinematic soccer. Up next is Captain Tsubasa 2 Super Striker, which is a continuation of the cinematic soccer action. Kinnikuman Kinnikusei Oi Sodatsu-sen, the only Famicom Disk System game included, is a side-scrolling beat-em-up with multiple characters to choose from. This is followed by Kinnikuman Muscle Tag Match, one of only 4 games in this set to be released in North America, which was renamed here as Tag Team Match Muscle. Next is Sakigake Otokojuku Shippuichi Gosei, which is a really long title for a side-scrolling beat-em-up based on the violent manga of the same name. After this we have Saint Seiya Ogon Densetsu, followed by Saint Seiya Ogon Densetsu Kanketsuhen, 2 games based on the ever-popular Saint Seiya manga and anime. Sekiryuo, another text-heavy adventure game. This one is set in ancient China. The second game that was released for the American Nintendo, Tenchio Kurao, was an often overlooked but very fun strategy RPG you may know as Destiny of an Emperor. Next on the list is the original Dragon Quest, which was released as Dragon Warrior here in the US. Believe it or not, Dragon Quest does belong in this set, as there were several manga based on the series released over the years in Shonen Jump. I was surprised by the changes and improvements made to the US version of this game, I found it very difficult to even figure out how to get the door open to leave the first room in its clunky and very Japanese menu system. The main character looks a little bit like a stick man and never changes the direction he's facing. Who knew that the US release of any NES game was better in America than it had been in Japan? Now we get into the Dragon Ball games, starting with Shinron no Nazo, which was severely changed and edited for a US release as Dragon Power in 1988. It's a top-down and side-scrolling adventure game following much of the story of Goku's childhood. Skipping right over the second Dragon Ball game for some reason, we have Dragon Ball 3 Gokuden, a board game-style adventure with card-based combat. Dragon Ball Z Kyoshu Saiyajin follows Dragon Ball 3's footsteps with more card-based action. In reverse order for some reason, we have Famicom Jump 2 Saikyo no Shichinin and Famicom Jump Hero Retsuden. These are adventure RPG games that contain tons of Shonen Jump characters, mixed together into one story, Kingdom Hearts style. Unfortunately, these are also pretty impenetrable without a lot of Japanese language skills. Hokuto no Ken, known as Fist of the North Star in the US, is a famously violent manga series in which the protagonist, Kenshiro, punches guys in a way that causes their heads to explode. If that's what you're looking for, this game delivers. We didn't get this game here in the US. The game we know as Fist of the North Star was actually Hokuto no Ken 2, which is ironically not even included in this collection. But what is here is Hokuto no Ken 3, Shen Seiki Sozo Seiken Retsuden, an RPG that is so Japanese heavy that I can't figure out how to leave the first town. Magical Taruruto-kun Fantastic World is almost a Mario-style game in which the protagonist attacks by sticking out his tongue and collects a lot of takoyaki. And finally, we have Rokudenashi Blues, another kanji-filled action RPG based on the manga of the same name, about a delinquent high school student who wants to become a boxing champion. So there you have it, an interesting collector's item that maybe with some translation patches could provide quite a few hours of entertainment for an English speaker. If you love the Famicom and Shonen Jump like I do, you should definitely check it out. Thanks for watching.